Welcome to the Chazz Palminteri podcast. Let me tell you something. We are back. My one-man show, A Bronx Tale, the show that started it all 32 years ago that Robert De Niro saw. That's how the movie and the musical got made. So go to chazzpalminteri.net. You can buy tickets on my website, chazzpalminteri.net. Check it out. It's great. Hi, welcome to the Chazz Palminteri podcast. What are we doing today? Neighborhood logic. We got so many requests when we keep doing these neighborhood logic episodes. I always say, what are you going to a shrink for? How much is a shrink going to cost you? 200, 300, 400? My shrink, 500? Please. I'm going to the shower with this guy. But he's great. So what do I have to say about neighborhood logic? We're going to take questions. I always tell everyone, please, if you have a question for me, use some neighborhood logic. Sometimes common sense is simple. You go to chazzpalminterishow@gmail.com. chazzpalminterishow@gmail.com. Ask me a question, right? Now, my son Dante, who is here right now,
what's up?
And my producer out there, Homelesspimp, who's what up, Homelesspimp?
Going on, man?
All right. They have some questions that people have written in. So who wants to start? Dante, you have a question?
Yeah, all right. This is from Ralph.
It's from who?
Ralph.
Okay.
Okay. My wife showers for 45 minutes to an hour. I take 5 minutes. What do I do about this?
Your wife showers for an hour. You shower for 5 minutes. What do you do about it?
5 minutes.
I got to tell you, stop being dirty and take a fucking shower. I mean, what's the deal? An hour is really long. You know what? I got to be honest with you. My wife showers. She goes in the shower for an hour. My wife takes a shower for an hour. I want to know, what do women do for an hour? Think about that. You know how long an hour is? An hour? That's like a whole show. I take a shower for 5 minutes. Dante, how long are your showers?
10 minutes? 5-10 minutes?
Pimp, how long are your showers?
I mean, if I shower, like, not even a minute, what are we doing here?
What, 5 minutes you shower?
I don't have time. 5 minutes. Tops.
5 minutes. What does a woman do in a shower for an hour? I don't know. You know, I watched a little bit of Sebastian Maniscalco, who's absolutely the best. He was so funny. He cracks me up. He did a whole bit on a shower, about how he takes a shower. I got to be honest with you, that's the first guy I ever heard take a shower for a long time. I mean, all my friends, we always go, 5 minutes. Unless they're bullshitting me. Unless they don't want to sound like whatever. I don't know. But
do you think it's a New York thing? Like, do people shower longer in the middle of the country?
You know what, Pimp? I don't know. I mean, that's a good question. You know what? Send me some send me some info. How long do you take a shower for? No, I'm serious. Sebastian's the only guy I ever heard who takes a shower for a long time.
Everybody, please send us your shower routine, please.
Send us your shower routine.
Yes.
All right. I mean,
don't you get fined in Los Angeles if you shower too long?
You know what? Yeah. If you shower too long in LA, you get fined.
Yeah.
But you could rob a bank, or you could kick somebody's ass and nobody says nothing. But if you shower, you go to jail for a long time.
Well, have you ever experienced? I have a cousin who goes when he has to poop. It will be 4 or 5 hours. You won't see him. Have you ever come across that? That's frustrating.
Yes, I know someone like that. I know a friend of mine like that. I have a good friend of mine. Actually, when he takes a poop. Or number 2, takes all his clothes off. He has to take all his clothes off. But, so I say, how do you do that at somebody's house? And he goes, very carefully. He locks the door. No, he really waits till he gets home. He's a grown man. Wow. And I say, come on. He said he was doing it when he was a kid. He would always take all his clothes off. And he still cannot do number 2 unless you take. I go, what happens if you're like in a restaurant? And he says, I try to hold it till I get home. Wow. I mean, I don't know where we got into that.
All right, next question.
Next question. Go ahead. Next question.
Okay. This is from Barry.
Barry.
Did Jonna pass the door test?
Did Jonna pass the door test? Yes. My wife absolutely passed the door test. She passed the door test in 1989. And as soon as she did it, I was like, wow. You know, a lot of people, I think somebody else asked the question about how do you do the door test now? I forgot his name.
Yeah, you don't really. It's kind of hard.
It's kind of hard to do the door test now with the, the electric locks,
Unless you're Sandy.
What? Unless you're Sandy. We'll talk about him.
Wouldn't it be like on social media or something? Wouldn't there be a door test? Social media? Or no, it's too...
What would Sonny think about Instagram?
Oh, wow.
Oh, I don't know.
But the door test.
Sonny from Bronx Tale?
The door test. Yeah, the new test.
Well, look, here's the deal with the door test. Even though you don't reach over and lift up the button anymore, the girl has to, at least if you open the door for get in, she has to hit her button to open yours. Or even if it's open already, hit it a couple of times. Make an attempt. Look like you care, ladies. Try. And let me tell you something right now. There's another test for the men. We didn't have time to put it in the movie because we tried to do it and you know what? It just didn't feel right. It didn't work. But there's a test for the men, and that is if a guy drops you off after a date at your house and you get out of the car and you're walking towards your front door, if he pulls out before you get in and shut the door and put on the light, dump him. Dump him, dump him, dump him. Just like Sonny told the kid in Bronx Tale, if she doesn't open that door, dump her. Same thing for the ladies. If he doesn't wait for you till you get in that door, you dump him. Trust me, that means a lot. A gentleman's supposed to wait till you're inside the house, then he goes. If a guy goes before that, dump him.
All right.
Another question.
This is a weird one. My wife and I divorced 5 years ago. We met and fell in love again and are getting married. Is that wrong? From Mike.
Wait, they got divorced.
They got divorced. This email says they got divorced 5 years ago.
Right.
Then they re-met and rekindled their own old flame and are now getting married.
Married again.
A second time.
A second time. Some people like to get screwed twice. I don't know. I mean, the whole kidding aside, I don't know. I've heard stories where that works out, and I've heard stories where it was a disaster. So, wow, that's a good one. I wrote something in a play once, a play called Faithful, and I wrote a line, you'll do anything for someone you love except love them again. And I think that makes a lot of sense. So what I believe is they probably never fell out of love. They probably just never fell out of love. And they hooked up, they met again, and he was still in love with her. She was still in love with him. And I guess it worked out. You know what's funny about that? I mean, I think I said this on another show. You could love somebody but not like them. It's really simple. You could love them, but you don't really like them. And that's not a good recipe to last. I would say, look, if you really feel it, go for it. But you better be sure because, especially if there are kids involved, you don't want to put children through this twice. You did it once already. All kidding aside, but I think you got to take a really serious look at it. What I think is, why get married again? Just live together. Let's see how it goes for a few years. Maybe you can get married in 5 years after living together. I don't know if I would get married again to the same woman. I think I would wait. What do you think?
Now, I mean, I'm not sure. It's a tough situation. Even for me, like when you were younger, would you break up with a girl and then get back together with her? Would you even do that much?
Those were those mad fights. You got back together. This is like marriage, probably with children. You get divorced. 5 years later, you run into her again and you get remarried. I've heard one situation where it worked out. but I've heard more situations where it didn't work out. So
It feels like psychology, like you're convincing yourself with the soulmates thing.
I don't know. Is there such thing as a soulmate? I don't know. I mean, I've been married to my wife for 30 years. What does soulmate mean? I don't know. I mean,
It's one of those things. I don't get it either.
people always go, what is your secret, Chazz? You've been married for 30 years. How could that be? I always go, well, look, when I wanted to get, we just didn't want to get a divorce at the same time. When I wanted a divorce, she said no. When she wanted a divorce, I said no. So, okay, I'm kidding.
I mean, none of it seems fun to me, in my opinion. Even the wedding day seems like too much.
Yeah.
Too much.
Too much.
Too much. You got to do the wedding again? Do you imagine if you were the best man? I got to do this, right? I got to do this bullshit again? I mean, I got to get another tuxedo? Wait a minute. Hold on. What about the gift I gave you? Can I just have a say, hey, man, I gave you a gift. I got to do this twice?
Wait a minute. That's a great hustle. Now I get it.
Yeah, just get divorced and then get married again so everybody gives you another gift. Or at an Italian wedding,
That's
everybody
a great hustle. I'm thinking about that.
everybody just gives you cash again.
You get the
You get the envelope, you get the cash.
You get the envelopes.
You get divorced, you just get married again.
And then you get married again. You say, see, Italians are different, folks. We don't get, toasters and crystals. We get cash. We want cash. Absolutely. I've always said that. We want cash. And so you do it again. And people got to be pissed off, right? I gave this guy like 1,000. Now I got to do it again? Think about that. Seriously. No, you're right. You can't get married. Or you can't have a wedding at least. You can't.
A little ceremony.
A ceremony. You have a little ceremony, but to do it again? I don't know.
The next question is a little crazy.
Go ahead.
I'm not going to say this guy's name. He's from England.
England. Go ahead.
He's from England. So he wrote kind of a story. I condensed it. Basically, he invited a girl out with him.
Right.
And then he went out with one of his friends.
Right.
And he told his friend that he liked this girl, and he found out that his friend was pursuing the girl, and they started a romantic relationship. Then he found out that this guy went to prison because he almost killed somebody. So the question that this guy wants to ask is, does he let it go or does he find this guy? And that's
wow.
That's kind of what he was asking.
And he's asking my permission to whack him? I mean, I don't know. Does this guy know that I'm not really in the mob here or what? I mean, come on. Well, you know what I say about that, all kidding aside? I say if he brought her to this guy to introduce him, and obviously the guy snuck behind his back, and
Yes.
she snuck behind his back.
Yes.
Let's be honest here. What I would say is you should send that guy a thank you note because you dodged a bullet, my man. The guy did you a favor. He did you a favor. You dodged a bullet because if you didn't see that really early, she would have probably pulled it on somebody else anyway. So if she pulled it on you, she's probably going to pull it on him. So I would say forget about it. Like in Bronx Tale, I wrote that thing, it cost you $20 to get rid of him. All right. It cost you a little heartache to get rid of her. Forget her. The guy did you a favor. Okay. Anything else? Next question. Anybody want to comment on that? Or we're okay?
I love that.
I don't want to go to prison, so I feel like I don't want to comment on that one. Yeah, don't do it.
No, Dante, you wouldn't do well in prison. My son, no, you do. You can handle yourself. You're not a fight really good, but you'll find those jelly beans on your bunk early in the morning. Oh, no. No. That's not going to work out.
That's my dad, everybody. Okay, here we
Okay.
go. Next
Here we go.
question.
Okay.
Thanks, Pops.
Go ahead.
I met a girl and she doesn't know how to cook sauce. From Anthony.
From Anthony. He met a girl and she doesn't know how to cook sauce. This has got to be the most serious question of all today. Well, Anthony, his name is Anthony. He's talking about sauce. We assume he's Italian.
Of course.
Am I right? Wait, he didn't give his last name, right?
No. Well, no. No.
All right, well, he did, but you don't want to say
Yeah.
it. But we only give first names here. We don't want to get anybody arrested. So, Anthony, she doesn't know how to cook sauce. Wow. Whew. I remember we used to have the sauce test growing up, me and my friends. The girl would have to make sauce. There was like 12 of us. And she had to make sauce for us 12 before we let him get married. This was the rule. She had to make sauce, and usually everyone passed except one. And I'll tell you why. Because usually you would taste her sauce before you allow the guys to come in. So it was always a no-brainer. We went there. Everybody would say, what do you think? Everybody had a thumbs up. So one of my friends, wait a minute. We had one who failed and one disqualified. I'm sorry. And I'll tell you, because her mother was in the kitchen when she made the sauce. So she got disqualified. She had to make it over again. DQ. And then she passed. Okay. So, but now this girl, I won't mention her name because we're still friends, obviously. He came to us and said, look, my girl's ready. I want to get married. My girl's ready. We got to I want you guys to taste the sauce. So we said, hey, bro, come on. You're dating this girl like 3 months. Are you telling me she's ready for the sauce test? I'm telling you she's ready. So we knew she put pressure on him. She must have put pressure on him, all right? Because he couldn't get engaged until she passed the sauce test. So we're sitting around the table, and she's in the kitchen. She's all excited, you can see. And he's all, right, he's all like ready. They put the macaroni down, and they put the gravy down. We call it gravy, But for everybody else, we call it sauce. And we put the gravy down, and we all start eating it. And I could tell. Nobody's saying nothing. Just kind of like sullen, faces are starting to fall. You know what I mean? So Timmy Knapp was the oldest. So Timmy Knapp voted first. So we turned to Timmy Knapp and we go, hey, Knapp, what is it? And he went, down. He put his thumb down, and we all put our thumb down. All of a sudden, he runs in the kitchen and goes, I told you were not ready. Didn't I tell you? She goes, I thought I was ready. This is bullshit. I can't take this. He goes, I told you. My friends, you're not ready for them. And they were screaming and yelling, and we all got up, and we left the kitchen. My God. And we heard them screaming. And then about 2 months later, we went back for the test again. And she passed with flying colors. But we told her, we warned them, she wasn't ready. But anyway, they got engaged, they got married, and they're still married today, all these years later.
Wow.
So she passed the test, obviously.
Wow. So when you're having a sauce, what really makes a bad sauce to you? What's a red flag?
Well,
sugar. If you're putting sugar in it, I don't want it.
Right. If it's too sweet.
Sugars are just because you're using bad tomatoes.
Yeah. You have to use the best tomatoes. What is it? San Marzano, right? San Marzano.
Or if you're in New York, you go to Title Brothers.
Yeah, you go to Title Brothers, you get the San Marzanos. The best Title Brothers, when you go to, you tell them Chazz sent you San Marzanos. The best sauce, canned. It's not canned sauce, it's tomatoes. But you make it with that fresh garlic. You have to use fresh ingredients, not garlic powder. You got to use real garlic, real basil, not herb, that stuff, that bullshit. You have to use real ingredients. Steve Materano, who has a restaurant he's got 4 restaurants, but the famous one is in Fort Lauderdale, always said, you must use simple, fresh ingredients. He's absolutely right. When I get off a plane, the first place I go to, Materano's in Florida. Best. He calls it gravy, and he's right. You're in New York, come to my restaurant, Chazz Palminteri's. What am I doing? I'm talking about something. I'm giving myself a plug. Why not? Why not? Chazz Palminteri's, 30 West 46th Street and 264 Main Street in White Plains. Check it out. Anyway.
Now, when you were a kid, because I'm always curious, I'm Irish. So in an Italian household, when do you realize how important sauce is?
When you're tucking on your mom's tit, I mean, come on.
I feel like you really start to realize when you have bad sauce.
Yeah.
That's when you go,
You see, when you grow up in an Italian household, everybody's sauce is great. Your grandmother's is great. Your mom is great. Your aunt's great. So when you go over to your aunt's house, that's great. A little different, but great. Everybody's sauce is great. But when you taste bad sauce, whoa. It's like, whoa. If you think I'm going to live with this my whole life. And that's why we created the sauce test when we were very young. We all talked about it.
Did you guys have someone in the neighborhood you just make fun of their mom's sauce?
No, because the sauce was great.
Oh, it was good. Nobody had a bad Italian mother?
No.
No.
No, impossible. A bad Italian mother who made bad sauce, she'd be run out of the neighborhood. The guy, no, I'm telling you, everybody's sauce was great. Everybody's. You know, it was, like I said, a little different. Some like it creamier, some like it a little more chunky with tomatoes, but all good. All good. No, no. That's, you know, everybody was Italian in my neighborhood. Everybody. You know, so. All right, what's the next question?
Those are all the questions. There's a lot of scripts.
What do you mean by a script?
Mostly people send you scripts. You should say
we don't read or open,
yeah.
So don't send
Yeah, please don't send me.
It's like 90% scripts.
Really?
Yeah, and like ideas for shows
and ideas for movies. And I always say that. Don't send me ideas. Please keep them to yourself. Write your show. Write your show. It is fine. I wish you 110% with it. Write your show.
We did get one more that I read about. What was it like working? You did a movie with Billy Baldwin.
Yes.
Recently.
Not recently, no, years ago. It's called One-Eyed Kings.
One-Eyed King, yeah. This guy was asking about One-Eyed Kings.
With Billy Baldwin and Amanda Sante.
Yeah, he was asking about what it was like working with them.
Well, I had a great time. I mean, Amanda obviously is Asante and Billy Baldwin, both two pros, two great actors. I had a great time doing One-Eyed Kings. Amanda Sante, I don't know if I had any scenes with him. Most of my stuff was with Billy, but just really class act. It was written and directed by a wonderful writer, Bobby Moresco, who won 2 Academy Awards for Crash and for, what's the movie with Hilary Swank? When she was the boxer.
$1 Million Baby?
$1 Million Baby. Yeah, he wrote those with Paul Haggis, his partner, just great writers. So I really enjoyed making those things.
Those are the questions that we got.
I mean, I have one more question before we go. Me and Chris Distefano were watching movies together.
Chris Distefano.
Yeah, and we came
My favorite.
We came to the realization that in the last few years, it feels like most directors or writers can't commit to a real ending, and they leave all these open-ended movies nowadays.
Right.
Do you think that's like a byproduct of why is there no good endings anymore?
Well, I can tell you a couple of reasons why there's no good endings anymore. In a lot of TV shows or movies especially, it's hard to write a good ending. It's really hard. You know, the ending is the most important part of a movie. When you write a movie, the endings, I'll tell you why. I think William Goldman said that, who's a brilliant writer and so smart, he said that the first 15 pages of a screenplay are the most important, and the last 15 minutes of a movie are the most important. And if you think about that, he's right. Because when you're reading a screenplay, by page 15, if they don't get you, that's it. Out. You throw the screenplay out. In a movie, if a movie is really good, and you're really loving it, but the ending is bad, you walk out and you go, people go, how was the movie? You go, it was okay. It's all right. If the movie's just okay and it has a great ending, people say, how's the movie? Oh, great. Great. So it changes the whole concept of the movie if you have a great ending, folks.
What are some of your favorite endings? Is there like an ending of a movie that you...
Well, Sixth Sense is a great ending.
Like freaking out?
I love Sixth Sense. I love Shawshank Redemption. I love Saving Private Ryan is a great ending. Yeah. I think Bronx Tale is a great ending.
I don't think I've seen a great ending of a movie in 10 years.
I'm sorry. I got to be honest. I mean, you know.
I feel like they also...
I think even
they
though
want a sequel.
I'm in it. Usual Suspects is a great ending.
Oh, yeah.
But I feel like a lot of movies don't have an ending because they want a sequel.
A lot of times movies, you're right, Dante. A lot of times movies don't want a great end. or they don't work for it because they go, well, we got to do the sequel. So originally in Bronx Tale, I always tell people this, the studio didn't want Sonny to die. They said it was a downer. And I was like, downer? What are you, crazy? Sonny's got to die. I go, it's not a downer, it's a catharsis. Sonny dies, the boy lives on. He understands. Sonny's life was a catharsis for him.
And that's what happened, too.
That's what happened. That's correct. He realizes his father was right. And at the end, you see him and the father walk off together. And he says, the saddest thing in life is wasted talent, and the choices you make will shape your life forever. That's it. That's what he realized. That's an ending. You know what I'm saying?
It's a real ending. But he brings up a good point. The role of the sequel is starting to destroy, I think, screenwriting. Yes. Like, why are they bringing back every series from the 90s instead of new ideas?
And doing sequels. Look.
Built an audience.
If you're going to do sequels, look, let's talk about, Sly Stallone, I really consider the premier, the inventor of the sequel. I really mean that. No one is better than doing that than him. He did it twice. Rambo, he did it with First Blood, and he did it with, obviously, Rocky. And if you could do it as good as he could do it, then I say make a sequel. But if you can't do it as good as Sly can do it, sometimes people just do it, to make money, and it's bullshit. You have to do it right. And you got to have something or a character that makes you want to see it again. Okay? That's real important. So if you're going to do a sequel, you better make sure that it's right. Well, I'll tell you what, this has been Neighborhood Logic. I just love these episodes because we get a chance to interact with all the fans. If you have a question, go to Chazz Palminteri Show at gmail.com. Send me your questions. We got some interesting ones today. I want to thank Dante and I want to thank Pimp. And you know what? Don't forget, subscribe, hit that like button. Go to ChazzPalminteri.net if you want to know where my one-man show is. Stop by my 2 restaurants. I'm always there, coming in and out. Chazz Palminteri Restaurant, 30 West 46th Street in Manhattan. 264 Main Street in White Plains. God bless you. Don't forget, the sauce is the king, or should I say gravy. God bless.